Hey everybody, Neil Thompson here. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And always remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Every bit helps. I want to talk a bit about how to make a technical presentation more interactive. And we could talk about both in person and virtually. So first of all, in person, what you can do is ask questions. If you ask questions, people are likely to answer them. And then they're also likely to pay attention because they don't want to get caught off guard if you ask them a question. And when you ask the question, to get people to actually participate, let's just say you're asking a question, how many people do X? You put your hand up. How many people do X? And people, when they see you put your hand up, they're more likely to put their hand up if they actually agree with the statement or that it or the statement applies to them. I guess they've actually done studies on this. If you don't put your hand up, they're less likely to put their hand up. So you got to put your hand up too. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but oftentimes you see a presenter presenting, they ask that type of question, they'll put their hand up. I wonder if the situation even applies to them. Yet they put their hand up anyway. But if it applies to you and you're in the audience, put your hand up as well. Another way to make a technical presentation more interactive is show and tell. Do you have a prototype of whatever you're talking about? If you do, bring it. If it is at all possible to do so, so you can pass it around, especially if the group that you're presenting to is small enough. So if you're passing something around to people, they're more likely to pay attention because they actually have to take the thing that you're actually passing around, take the prototype from the next person. They're not going to be on their phone or just staring off into space. And then they're going to maybe be interested. They look at the prototype, see what it is, see what it's all about. Okay, this looks kind of cool. Maybe I actually will pay attention to this presentation. So those are the two ideas I have for in person. When it comes to virtual, use the chat function. And the chat function can be tricky because you're giving a presentation and yet people are inputting information in the chat as well. So if you have somebody else that you can enlist to take or keep an eye on the chat to see if people are posting there, asking questions, giving comments, and then also having time throughout the presentation to read these comments, to read the questions. And so people don't think that if they put something in the chat, no one's going to notice. So use the chat, but always be mindful that it needs to be monitored by either you or someone else, preferably by someone else, so you can just focus on your presentation. And then you could also ask questions during virtual presentations as well. And what I've seen done is people will ask a question, what have you ever, does X apply to you, or whatever the question is, and put a 1 in the chat if it does, or put a 2 in the chat if it doesn't. And then you'll see a whole bunch of 1s, a whole bunch of, a bunch of 2s, that type of thing. And then people will pay attention based on that too. And both those ideas I've seen used to great effect. So when it comes to in person, I suggest asking questions. Put your hand up when you ask the question, so people are more likely to put their hand up. And then if you have something tangible to actually show people, bring it so that they can see it. And then with virtual, you want to be able to ask questions too in that instance. And you can use whatever metric you want or whatever in the chat to then say, you say 1 if this applies to you or 2 if this applies to you. And then you'll see the numbers come through. And then just using the chat generally and making sure that you monitor it. Either you monitor it or enlist someone else to do it for you. Hopefully this has been helpful. Again, my name is Neil Thompson, founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about it at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Every bit helps. Thanks. Have a great day.